Okay, so I'm going to finish Hidden Talents today, I'm pretty sure. And I want to know, were you satisfied with the ending? And explain. So I don't just want yes or no. What worked for you or what didn't? And if it didn't, what would you have done differently? So we want you to really put some energy into this as we wrap up, because good readers do think about whether or not things work. I also want to point out before I forget or get cut off, there are more books by David Lubar. Here's just a small list. There are many, many more. True Talents, which is the sequel to Hidden Talents. Flip, and I've read, these are the three that I've read, and Punished. Flip is excellent if you like kind of history mixed with fiction. And then Punished is a school tale, basically. And then In the Land of the Lawn Weenies, yeah, I don't know what that one's about, but I imagine it's fun and twisted because Dave Lubar has a wonderful sense of humor. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and read The Showdown. What? I asked, looking desperately around, hoping to spot a teacher. There was no sign of help. The halls were empty. Bloodbath turned his wrist and dug his knuckles hard into my collarbone. I don't know how you did it, but it was you. I've seen you with those freaks. You ruined everything. Now I'm going to ruin your face. Behind him, Lip laughed like a crazy hyena. Panic nearly shut down my mind, but I fought against it and used the only weapon I could. I stared at Bloodbath, and I knew the darkest fears inside his dark head. I pointed at Lip. You going to let him laugh at you that way? I glanced toward Lip, still bracing for the punch from Bloodbath that would snap my ribs like dry spaghetti. Man, you shouldn't laugh at him like that, Lip. Don't you have any respect? Bloodbath glared at Lip and loosened his grip on my shirt. Lip stood, his mouth open. My words must have caught him so much by surprise that he couldn't think up a response. His silence looked like an admission of guilt. Maybe part of what I've said was true. It didn't matter, just as long as Bloodbath thought it was true. I knew, as only I could know, that Bloodbath hated the merest hint that someone might laugh at him. I didn't know how it started. I didn't know where or why. But I knew that this was his one gigantic button. The sore, unhealed wound. This was what you pressed to set him off. To laugh at Lester Bloodbath was to die. Oh dear. Lip was doomed. I could slip down the hall and flee to safety while Bloodbath was kicking the crap out of his pathetic little shadow. Bloodbath reached out and grabbed Lip by the arm. He raised a fist. No, this wasn't the way it should be. Let him go, I said. How stupid are you? He wasn't laughing at you. I shook my head. What an idiot. You are a true moron, Lester. Then I laughed at him. I whooped and roared with all I had in me, striking him with a mock cackle that echoed through the halls. I must have been an idiot. Bloodbath tossed Lip aside. He whirled back at me. Lip bounced off the opposite wall, staggered, caught his balance, and scurried away. There was nothing for me to do but put up a fight. Even so, I figured I was going to end up with a lot more broken bones than Finch had gotten. Bloodbath charged at me, pulling back his right fist for a punch. The look in his face, it was the look of a bully who was about to do damage. It was the look of a bully about to feast on pain. A jolt ripped through my gut. It wasn't fear. Fear wasn't in the hallway. I was jolted by Bloodbath's expression. I'd seen that same look so often on my father's face, the face of a bully. All my life, I'd lied to myself. I'd pretended it was something else. But my father had whipped me like a dog, only he'd done it with words. And bully that he was, he'd enjoyed it. Rage guided me. I shot out my own right fist. I connected straight with Bloodbath's jaw. I don't know which of us was more surprised. Bloodbath dropped so fast it looked like he'd been anchored to the floor with rubber bands. I froze, waiting for the aftershock of our collision. Slowly, I realized that this fight, at least, was over. All right, there's more, but I want you to notice the aha moment of the notice and note where we would pause and see that Martin just figured out that his father bullies with words. And he made that connection. So the author's been holding out on us, waiting for us to make that realization. Unbelievable. No, very believable. I realized as the answer came to me. Flinch, I whispered. All those hours throwing punches, all that practice, I'd developed one heck of a right hook. I had sure made an impression on Bloodbath. He was stretched flat out on his back, his eyes closed like those of a dead fish. A low moan escaped his lips, along with a trickle of spit. Maybe he'd never been hit before. Probably not. Who would have dared to? Who, indeed? Resisting the urge to step on Bloodbath's chest, I walked past him. Lips stared at me from around the corner, his eyes so wide they reminded me of ping-pong balls. Have a nice day, I said. I turned away from Lip and headed upstairs towards my class. I was just in time for the end of science. Well, Cheater asked as I plopped down on the rug, did you get them angry? Nope, I said. So you said nice things to them, Torchy asked. I shook my head. Not that either. You did use your power, Lucky asked. I didn't use it, and I didn't let it use me. I took another route. I just told them the truth. And what would that be? Lucky asked. The truth is that Edgeview isn't a bad idea, but the teachers could do a lot better job if the really dangerous kids were sent someplace else. Not everyone who's here should be here. I told them that most of us just wanted to learn and to fit in, but that it was hard when there was a small gang of bullies who terrorized the rest of us. That's it? Torchy asked. I shook my head. Nope. I told them one other thing. There had to be a way to get out. There always had to be hope, no matter how long someone had been there. One chance at an evaluation isn't enough. Let a kid prove he's ready to go back to his own school. After a month, after 6 months, or a year, whenever he feels ready, he should have the chance. Lucky sighed. I hope they listened to you about the bullies. They did. A week later, Bloodbath and most of his gang got transferred. I'm not sure if it was to another school or just some kind of detention place. Maybe they all just got sent home. It didn't matter, as long as they were gone. As Bloodbath was leaving, Finch started dancing in front of him, calling him names. Bloodbath tried to hit him, but Finch just kept ducking and dodging. After every dodge, he reached out and tapped Bloodbath on the face with his left hand. Just light taps. He didn't sock him with the cast on his right hand. After a while, Bloodbath looked like one of those boxers who's gotten way out of shape and shouldn't be fighting. He was panting and gasping. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. We went up to the room so we could watch from the window as Bloodbath and his buddies were loaded onto the bus. I smiled when I recognized the driver. He'd kept that group under control. There's one thing I don't get, Torchy said after the bus had pulled out of sight. What's that? Why did you ask them to set up a way out? I mean, we don't want to break up. You don't want to leave us. I didn't answer him right away. Martin, Cheater said, you don't want to go away, do you? I think you already know the answer to that, I said. Maybe Cheater does, Torchy said, but I sure don't. You've been great, I said. All of you. You're the first real friends I've had. But my family? All these years, I've really screwed things up. Tell me about it, Torchy said. I did the same thing. There isn't a piece of furniture in the whole house without burn marks. You should see my place, Trash said. I nodded, thinking about some of the more awful moments from the past. I almost can't blame my dad for hating me. I gasped as my own words sunk in, squeezing my chest into a tight knot. For a minute, I couldn't talk. I'd never admitted that particular truth before. It's time to try to fix things, I said. I could hide here. It would be easy, but I can't. I have to go home. Maybe there's no way to get Dad to like me. I don't know, but at least I can be there for my sister. Torchy nodded. It takes at least a month to go through all the steps, Cheater said. That's what I heard. So at least you'll be around that long. And we'll have fun, Lucky said. Lots of fun, Trash said. He floated a handful of quarters out of Lucky's pocket and dropped one in front of each of us. Oh yeah, I said, looking at my friends. We'll have fun. This is going to be a month to remember. And it was. Form 2937, a Edgeview School, for official use only, student release form. Student name, Martin Anderson. The undersigned assert that the student in question has successfully completed the evaluation process as described in state guidelines, whatever number that is, and has been judged ready and capable of returning to a school in his home district. And you can see all the signatures there. Epilogue. It took me a bit more than 2 months to get out of Edgeview. Old habits are hard to break. But I showed them, finally, that I was fit to return to a regular school. I got out in the middle of May. The school year was almost over. Part of me wanted to wait and finish out the year at Edgeview. But I guess I knew the time had come to move on. It was good to get home. My sister Terry made dinner for me the night I got back. It must have been rough for her while I was away. She looked terrible when I first saw her, but Dad got off her back as soon as he had me around for a target. I'd hoped he'd be less angry now that I was acting better, but he almost seemed annoyed that he didn't have anything to get mad about. I don't know if I'll ever get things straightened out between us, but if I fail, at least I'll know it's not my fault. Maybe he'd have been no different even if I'd never talked back. There's no way to find out, and no real point in wondering. The guys write me all the time, telling me what's going on in their lives. I write back, of course. Trash sends me drawings. He's really got a gift for art. Flinch sends me jokes. It wouldn't surprise me if he ended up on television one of these days. Lucky sends me all kind of little stuff. In his last note, he told me he's learning to handle the voices and not pick up anything that will get him in trouble. Cheater sends me trivia questions and logic puzzles through email. Once in a while, Torchy sends me a tape of himself playing the harmonica. He really is getting pretty decent. They all decided to try to leave Edgeview too. That's good, they don't belong there. Every once in a while, I get a postcard from Mr. Briggs. Just for fun, I sent him a t-shirt from the local college. Their mascot is a duck. I hope he wears it to the next staff meeting. I can just imagine the face of Principal Davies will make. Each day is a bit of a struggle. I still have to fight to keep from getting people angry. I mess up a lot, but I'm getting better. And on top of that, I have to wrestle with the urge to make them do what I want by telling them what they want to hear. Sometimes I slip. I'm human. But I've decided it's okay to use my talent to make people feel good, as long as I'm not doing it because I want something from them. I guess it's my way of making up for getting so many people angry. The last thing I want is to be a bully. Not all bullies use their fists. Some use words. It's not easy. I imagine every talent has a price, both the talents we know about and the hidden talents, the gifts we haven't yet discovered. Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that story. I personally, thinking about this question, were you satisfied with the ending? Explain. Well, I'm a teacher, so the fact that they show how much Martin has grown in his understanding and his sharing about the different kinds of bullies and how important it is not to be one, of course, that made me happy, right? And then there's the bigger question that I didn't write up here, and that is, what do you think your hidden talents might be? Because I think David Lubar did a really nice job of bringing us to an understanding that some of these talents are subtle, and that we need to always look and see what talents each one of us has. So with that thought, hopefully you'll write something in your reading journal about this book. And I guess it's time to start a new book. Take care. Bye.